Another E3 is behind us, and something that keeps coming up year after year are open world games. This year we got a bunch of titles like Days Gone, Ghost Recon Wildlands, LEGO Worlds, Watch Dogs 2, Mass Effect Andromeda, Sea of Thieves, and even Zelda. This sounds exciting for fans of open worlds, but it seriously has me wondering what an open world is. We all know what an FPS, RTS, or MOBA is, but what is an open world? I mean, we could just define it by the ability to freely move around a virtual 3D space, but that's not what it is. You wouldn't say Doom is open world. Wikipedia defines open world games as video games where a player can move freely through a virtual world and is given considerable freedom in regards to how or when to approach particular objectives, as opposed to other computer games that have a more linear structure to its gameplay. That's certainly the most generalized definition, but for me this still falls short. Some consider a game like Ocarina of Time open world, but I don't think it is. Sure, it's got some large open areas, and you can do things slightly out of order and at your own pace, but the game has a focused linear narrative. The open fields and side quests give the feeling of openness and exploration, but any two people playing will have had a very similar experience. Talking to somebody about Ocarina is like talking about a movie. We may have different perspectives on the content, but we saw the same scenes. The same goes for something like LA Noire. Sure, you can drive around LA all you want and do little side missions, but simply having a large open city doesn't make your game open world. The player experience is going to be the same, the outcomes don't change, and the progression is linear. And linear games aren't bad. Linear games offer the developer more control over the narrative and pacing. Games that add a touch of open world ideas, like LA Noire and Ocarina, give you the best of both without compromising the narrative. Free-roaming open world games aren't the best for strong narrative stories. The freedom given to the player often derails the momentum, leaving us with games like Skyrim and GTA 5, where plenty of people don't even finish the main story, nor do they really care about it. Okay, but then what is it that makes a game open world? I think it's the freedom to create a story that's your own. Everyone playing an Elder Scrolls game has the same quests available, but the random events and different playstyles make your adventure unique each and every time. Just picking which city to visit first, or what character build you use, can change the progression of a playthrough. Deciding to retire, build a house in the country, and start a family is something you could do. Even something like The Sims falls into this. It's creating your stories the way you want. Everyone has the same tools and options in The Sims, but every person has different characters and stories. Each person plays the game differently in some little way, creating unique scenarios each time. It's about that deep level of choice to do things the way you want, letting the gameplay emerge from your actions instead of following a linear path. Open world games are defined by the experience, not the technology. It's that feeling you get knowing there's an entire world to discover, and that your experience will be uniquely yours. Freedom to roam and explore certainly make a game world open, but I don't think it defines the term. True open world games pull you in and make you feel something beyond the pixels. The reason this came up at all is the new game The Legend of Zelda: The Breath of the Wild. The industry and fans seem to have welcomed this game with open arms. It's got a huge game world and all new mechanics. I feel like an outsider when I see this vast open world Zelda, and I don't feel anything. I know this was only a featured demo, but for me Zelda games have always been about the feeling of openness and adventure that comes through the story itself. Each time in Zelda when you set out on your journey, the joy doesn't come from the amount of space between each dungeon, it comes from the progression and movement of the story, alongside the open environments and puzzles. Also at E3 was No Man's Sky. It looks great, and in many people's eyes it will be the pinnacle of open world, but I can't help think it's missing something. Sure, billions of planets to see sounds great, but it's the connection to the world that matters. How long will that be exciting? What will connect us to these alien worlds? I hope games like Zelda and No Man's Sky have more than what appears on the surface, but their vast worlds with rolling hills, bright colors, and jutting mountains are just arrangements of pixels displayed at high frame rates. Creating a game that lives in your memory requires a depth beyond the technology. Open worlds are great, but so are plenty of other genres. There's no reason to drag every series into the open world. It's unnecessary and could degrade many of our favorite games. It would be a sad thing to see games like The Last of Us disappear in favor of unfocused, non-linear open worlds. But hey, none of this is up to me, so I'll just continue with my virtual retirement in Skyrim. Okay everybody, that was my video for this week. I hope you liked it. If you did, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, I think you know what to do. Leave me a comment in the comments section and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this one in the future. Coming up soon, maybe next week, maybe a little later, I have a video on Firewatch. I'm going to do a review on that, and then I'm going to be doing a review on episode 2 of the new Hitman. I'll see you then.